Bog Mohe'e, Brianna Crane. The greeting I just made you guys stated, "Hi, my name is Brianna Crane" in Croatian, which brings me to the topic of my presentation, enhancing communication in Croatia. And the focus of this topic is intercultural relationships within the workplace in Croatia versus intercultural relationships in the workplace of the United States. Why should we care about enhancing communication in Croatia? One reason is that 29% of Croatian workers have not come in contact with foreigners. This means that almost 75% of Croatian workers have come in contact with foreigners. This shows the diversity within the Croatian economy and why it is important to be able to effectively communicate interculturally. Secondly, there was a total of 65,100 foreigner worker permits in Croatia. This shows that Croatia is accepting foreign commute and that it will only grow in the future, which also points back to why being able to effectively communicate interculturally is extremely important. Lastly, lack of communication skills have led to poor performance of workers. Studies have shown that communication has been a problem within the workplace in Croatia, which also has effect on worker performance. All of these reasons are very important to why we should enhance communication in Croatia and those intercultural relationships within the workplace. To give you guys a better understanding of how we can enhance communication in Croatia and why we should do this, I have provided a case study within the slides, and we will discuss the context, the involvement, and the conflict that will be in the interaction. The context of this case study is the workplace communication. It involves two workers, one from Croatia within an industry in Croatia. His name is James, and Mariah, being from the United States, coming over to Croatia to that same industry that James is working in. The conflict is local workers are struggling to understand how to communicate with foreign employees, and this challenge results in poor performance of workers. Next, I will read to you the transcript that is provided within the PowerPoint. This is a conversation between James and Mariah, and it provides you with a better understanding of the conflict and how cultural values cause conflicts within people from different cultures and in the workplace. I will start off with James. James, it is good to see you again, Mariah. I am looking forward to working with you. I just had to discuss something with you. Mariah, is there a problem? James, no, I just wanted to check in with you because you had not turned in your project pitch. Mariah, pitch? I was not aware of this. James, yes, well, it is in the pamphlet we give out to our new hires. I expected you to read it and know when certain things are expected from us. Mariah, I apologize, I was not aware of this. James, it's fine, we're independent workers, so it's understandable if you are used to a superior discussing assignments with you. From this case study, you can see that prior cultural beliefs are what caused this conflict. James is used to workers being independent, knowing what things to do and getting those things done, while Mariah, on the other hand, not necessarily needing a superior, but is used to a superior giving orders and her doing those things from there on out. This interaction will also bring us to cultural values that put a strain on relationships within people from different cultures. The discussion of cultural values has brought us to the theoretic frame of Ostler's layer approach. In this slide, we're discussing in what ways Croatia participates and what ways United States participates. So in this, it would be how James participates and how Mariah participates, being from their respective countries. One of the first layers of this approach is individual, which are based on personal values and identity, Croatia being independent and U.S. being interdependent. Next, there is interpersonal, which participant relational expectation and roles. So in this point, Croatian employers are expecting certain things from U.S. employees. So they are the focus of our study. So they will be the main ones that are involved in interpersonal. Episode, context that influence meaning, expectations. So in this point is the discussion over a project pitch between a member of a Croatian industry and a member of United States employee. So it'll be Mariah against James and discussing how the project pitch should have been completed. And lastly is culture, varied dimensions of national culture. So come and contrast the communication styles as level of directness, preferences for a sequence of relational tasks. Next, we will discuss more cultural values that have proven to be a factor in this interaction and how those things contribute to poor worker performance and the inability to effectively communicate with people from different cultures. So in the slides, I provided a picture with the different levels such as power distance, individualism, masculinity, unassertive voice, and so on. And they're all a comparison between Croatia and the United States. So the one that I believe was very significant to this interaction is unassertive avoidance. Unassertive avoidance is the extent to which the members of a culture feel threatened by uncertain or unknown situations. I provided in the slides the scores from both Croatia and United States. Croatia having a score of 80 and United States having a score of 46. Now, Croatia has a pretty high score while United States has 46, so it's kind of in the middle. Having a high unassertive avoidance means accepting only familiar risks while fear of ambiguous situations and of unfamiliar risks. With this being said, people in Croatia are very skeptical of being put in situations they are unfamiliar with, meaning they are only comfortable with being in familiar situations. So with this being said, being put into situations where people from different culture have different beliefs and they act accordingly, this is unfamiliar for people in Croatia, which contributes to how being able to communicate effectively puts such a strain on relationships within the workplace. Croatian people are not used to people such as Americans coming in and doing things unorthodox. This puts them in a bind and puts a strain on how they perform and how they communicate, which is understandable how there has been studies to where poor communication leads to poor performance in Croatia. Secondly, is power distance. Power distance is the extent to which the less powerful members of institutions and organizations within the country accept that power is distributed unequally. This power distance is more focused on the United States side. For example, Croatia has a score of 73, while the United States has a score of 40. Croatia having a larger power distance means that people in Croatia understand that there are levels when working. So they understand that your boss has more authority than their employees. While in the United States, they have a score of 40, meaning that many Americans do not understand that your boss is your superior and they have more of a say-so than you do. So this also contributes to how communication is affected within the workplace. Large power distance among people are both expected and desired, meaning that people in Croatia expect and they desire people of higher authority, and they are willing to allow those people to have that authority. People with low distance are commonly known for contradicting their bosses and approaching them on certain situations. Also, with people in lower distance countries such as the United States, both parties have to openly work towards resolving the disputes by stating their points of view. Now, this is uncommon. This would be very uncommon to people in Croatia. If your boss says something, that would be the end of the discussion. However, with people in the United States, getting into disputes and coming to a negotiation is normally how they handle situations. So this can cause many conflicts, being that, for example, Mariah, they gave her a pamphlet to go back and know what she needs to do and when she needs to do them. James expected Mariah to do this, but Mariah, being, from a lower power distance country, she didn't take much into this pamphlet, didn't really take it serious. This is why they're in this situation that they're in. Not respecting authority is what's pretty much the problem. So this also, power distance played a critical role in being able to effectively communicate, and that plays a role on both sides. Initially, Croatians having such a high uncertainty avoidance puts them in uncomfortable situations where they are not used to being able to deal with unfamiliar situations. While on the other hand, power distance plays a role in how people from America come to other countries not knowing how to respect authority. In conclusion, communication recommendations that I have to be able to enhance communication and to resolve certain situations like such in the case study. My first recommendation is to understand the other person first. This includes knowing a person's culture personally and professionally, which is also adopting. For example, I have listed out a transcript between Mariah and James. An example of this is Mariah, I should talk with James to make sure we are on the same page. And James, I figured Mariah would know to review the pamphlet. We handed them out for their benefit. So this is showing that Mariah, by wanting to talk to James, is showing how she is realizing that the cultures are different and that she must change in order to have a better relationships with James. Secondly, understanding needs, wishes, and values. So this is simply understanding what you need to do and how other people's values play into your behavior. So another transcript example is Mariah, I am new. I should have thoroughly reviewed the pamphlet. James, I should clear the air with Mariah. You are new, so I should have followed up with you. This shows an example of how both James and Mariah are adapting to their new situations. Mariah knowing that she should have thoroughly looked through the packet in order to know what she was supposed to be doing, and James knowing that, okay, this is a new person coming in from a different culture. I should have followed up with her to make sure that she knows what is expected of her. Lastly, learn to coexist with other cultures. This is basically knowing how to adopt and adapt to different situations and learning how to live in those situations to make a better environment for one another. Lastly, the last transcript is Mariah, I apologize. I should have reviewed the pamphlet to know the expectations. James, no problem. I have realized this is your first week. I should have warned you. This interaction creates a bond between the two and respect to where they both have an understanding for one another and they both will work towards making the situation better in the future. Lastly, I have references and image citations for the information I was provided in this presentation. Thank you.